All right, so have you ever thought about, like, what would happen if all those prescription drug ads just disappeared from TV?
Yeah, I mean, it's uh, an interesting thought.
Like, during cable news and stuff,
Yeah.
like, poof, just gone,
Yeah.
It's like one of those things you don't really think about too much, but what if it, like, caused this huge chain reaction and, like, changed the whole media landscape?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got a while to think about something like pharmaceutical advertising. Having that kind of ripple effect
Mm.
on, how we get our news
Yeah.
makes you wonder about, what really keeps those big media companies going.
Right. So that's kind of what we're going to be looking at today, right? Like, what would happen if there was a ban on all those direct-to-consumer pharmaceutical ads on TV?
Right, DTC ads.
And for everyone listening, our mission today is to kind of figure out what the fallout might be from something like that.
Yep.
This isn't just some random what-if scenario either.
No.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. actually wants to do this. So we're going to be diving into this transcript from a Valuetainment YouTube video where they talked about exactly this.
Okay.
Like, what could actually happen if all those drug commercials just went away? So let's see.
All right, sounds good.
So to set the stage here,
Mhm.
RFK Jr.'s proposal is basically to just get rid of those DTC pharmaceutical ads on TV.
Right, and according to that valuetainment discussion, he actually talked about this back on October 31st in Glendale, Arizona.
Right.
Interesting.
And his reasoning seems pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah,
Like, he thinks it would help fight the chronic disease epidemic we have in the U.S.
makes sense.
And he pointed out something pretty crazy.
What's that?
The U.S. and New Zealand are the only two developed countries that let companies advertise prescription drugs directly to consumers like that.
Oh, wow.
And, the U.S. also has way higher rates of chronic diseases and way higher drug costs,
Makes you wonder.
So it's kind of like, is that just a coincidence?
Right, like, is there something else going on there? I mean, studies actually do show that those DTC ads can get way more people asking for specific drugs, even if there are other treatments out there.
Wow.
So, it really raises the question, like, is it always patient need that drives prescriptions?
Right.
Or is it, how good the marketing is?
Yeah, it makes you think.
Yeah.
And RFK Jr. isn't the only one talking about this.
Really?
Yeah, the Valuetainment video mentions that some other pretty big names are on board with this idea too. Like, Elon Musk actually came out and supported limiting those pharma ads on X back in November.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then there's this guy, Dr. Bararia, who was supposedly in the running to head the NIH under Trump.
Okay.
He was also on X back in May of 2023, talking about how all this money big pharma spends on ads could be influencing what mainstream media outlets decide to report on.
Yeah, that's a pretty big concern.
Right. So you can kind of see that more and more people are starting to question all this.
Yeah, it definitely adds another layer to the conversation.
Yeah.
It's like whether or not this ban actually happens right away,
Right.
it's more about how people are feeling, uneasy about how big of a role pharma advertising plays.
Okay, now here's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The Valuetainment guys call this the MSM fire sale premise.
MSM fire sale.
Yeah, MSM.
Okay.
So their basic argument is if you took away all that pharmaceutical ad money, it could totally cripple the big cable news networks.
Really?
Yeah. And this isn't like a brand new idea either.
Oh.
The transcript says that this fire sale thing actually came from Adam PBD.
Adam PBD.
Yeah, Patrick Bet-David, the host of Valuetainment.
Oh, yeah.
He apparently talked about this back in 2021 with Zubin in Boca Raton.
Interesting.
So it seems like some people have been worried about this for a while now.
So what's the big deal? Like, how much money are we talking about?
Well, they mentioned this statistic that's pretty mind-blowing.
Okay.
Get this. They say that something like 70 to 75% of all ad revenue for cable TV could be coming from pharmaceutical companies.
Whoa.
70 to 75%.
Seriously?
Yeah. And remember, the U.S. and New Zealand are like the only ones doing this.
Wow.
So that's a lot of eggs in one basket.
I mean, if that's even close to accurate, that's a lot.
Right.
It kind of shows you how shaky things might be.
Yeah.
Like if they lost that much money.
Okay, so let's imagine for a second.
Okay.
Let's say you have one of those big cable news anchors making $6 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine 75% of their revenue just disappears.
Okay.
That $6 million suddenly becomes $1.5 million.
Ouch.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
And it's not just the big names that would be affected.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, everyone at the network would feel that.
Yeah, I mean, a 75% hit like that,
Right.
that would affect everyone's salaries and probably how many people they could even employ.
Right. The valuetainment discussion talks about how this could lead to some big names leaving.
Yeah.
And then they even say that mainstream media companies might have to have a fire sale.
What do you mean?
Like, if these networks can't depend on all that pharma money anymore,
Right.
they become a good target to be bought out, you know?
Oh, I see.
Like by these big media conglomerates or these new digital companies.
Yeah, trying to get bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
kind of shows you how advertising money and who owns the media are all tied together.
Yeah.
Like if the money dries up, things could change a lot.
But of course, there are other ways to look at this.
Yeah.
The valuetainment guys talk about some different arguments and scenarios, too.
Okay.
It's not like a ban would automatically destroy these networks.
Right.
Like, they pointed out that pharmaceutical companies wouldn't just stop advertising altogether.
Right. They got plenty of money for marketing.
Right.
They'd probably just spend it somewhere else.
Yeah, like on the radio
Yeah.
or online or in magazines.
Mm-hmm.
So then the question is, what would the mainstream media do?
Right. How would they adjust?
They would probably have to go after advertising money from other industries,
Right.
like the car industry, or retail stores, or companies that make packaged goods, or insurance companies, tech companies,
Right.
even companies that sell stuff to older people.
I mean, it makes sense. They'd have to find the money somewhere.
Right. And they actually mentioned some specific companies that advertise on cable now, like
Okay.
Progressive, Carvana, T-Mobile.
Right.
But that was back in 2020, so who knows? Yeah. But the point is, there are other industries out there with money to spend.
Absolutely.
And this brings us to this whole digital transition that's happening.
Yeah.
They're talking about how traditional media, especially cable news, they're already facing this challenge of people not watching as much cable anymore.
Right.
Everyone's cutting the cord and going to streaming and all that.
Yeah. It's like what happened to newspapers.
Right.
If you don't keep up with how things change, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And they even brought up some examples of these media personalities like
Yeah.
Joy Reid and Don Lemon. They're making way less money doing their online stuff now compared to what they used to make on cable.
Really?
Yeah. So it's a totally different world financially.
Makes sense.
So basically what they're saying is
Yeah.
the market will kind of shake things up.
Mm-hmm.
Whether or not this ban on pharma ads happens,
Right.
the people who can adapt just won't survive.
That's how it works.
This ban might just speed things up a little.
Interesting.
So to sum it all up,
Okay.
we've got this potential for a big shakeup in the media world
Right.
because of this idea to ban pharmaceutical ads on TV.
Right.
But then again, both the drug companies and the media companies could find ways to adapt.
Yeah, they might have to.
But the big takeaway from this valuetainment discussion is how much cable news relies on money from pharmaceutical advertising.
Right.
It's like a weak spot for them.
Yeah. And if that money goes away,
Right.
who knows what could happen?
So here's something to think about.
Okay.
You know when you watch the news or whatever?
Yeah.
How much is what you're seeing influenced by all this advertising money from different industries?
That's a good question.
Like, we're talking about pharma, but what other weird financial connections might be going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's definitely something to think about.
It really makes you wonder.
It does.
Okay, that's all the time we have for our deep dive today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Seriously.